Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to this week's second video. And the reason I'm doing this is I want to make up for not posting last week, as I said that I'd be posting every week in 2022. Also, this is in response to a comment that I got on last week's video, or the week before that I should say, that asked about Chinese radicals. So let's dive into that today and go through some of the essential ones while also explaining what Chinese radicals are and how they're used. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So you might be wondering when you first start learning Chinese, okay, if there's no alphabet, how am I actually going to go about learning thousands of individual characters? It can sound pretty daunting to us when we first start learning Chinese. But what you need to remember is there is a logical system behind Chinese characters. They do seem a little bit intimidating at the start, but rest assured, I promise you, the system is logical and it does make sense. The good news is the more Chinese characters you learn, the easier it becomes, which sounds obvious, but it's just getting used to the initial concepts and building blocks that make up Chinese characters that will eventually allow you to become more comfortable and familiar with this system. So, what are Chinese radicals? Well, Chinese radicals are components that make up a Chinese character that usually indicate some type of meaning. Most characters in Chinese are made up of both a phonetical component and a meaning, or a meaning component of the character. So when we look at a character, even if we don't know how to pronounce it or what it means, unlike in English, for example, where you can, spell it out, we can look at a Chinese character and decipher its meaning roughly and its pronunciation. We can take an educated guess when you get enough experience with the Chinese language. So how does that happen? Well, I'm going to run through 5 of the most essential radicals with you guys today, and you'll start to understand what I mean. So, rather than me trying to explain it and the theory behind it, perhaps jumping straight into it with some examples will be more beneficial. I will preface this by saying that today's video will contain some advanced vocabulary, so if you're just beginning Chinese, try not to focus too much on the new words or characters that I use as examples with these radicals in them, because you may not have learnt them already. And they are of a more intermediate or advanced level. So the first radical that I want to look at today is the water radical, 水, 水. Okay, so water in Chinese, 水. Now, in Chinese, there is actually a Chinese name for this radical, but again, until we go into more, advanced lessons, we'll just stick with the basics for now. So the Chinese character for water, 水, is an individual character. It's also the word for water. However, when it becomes a radical, okay, it turns into 3 dots on the left side, usually of a character, okay? And that indicates that the character has something to do with water. Now, what are some examples of this? Okay, there are 2 that I can think of, and that would be 河, okay? 河, meaning river. You can see that it has those 3 distinct strokes on the left side of the character, which indicate that it has something to do with water, which a river does, of course. So, 河, river, has the water radical. What else has the water radical? Okay? This word does, okay? So it's 渴, okay? And that means thirsty, because when you're thirsty, you need water. So again, that features the same 3 strokes on the left side of the character for 渴, thirsty. Pretty cool, huh? So that is the water radical. Now, the next one I wanted to move on to, which you will see a lot. You'll see this a lot if you go to the grocery store. This will definitely come up. And that is 草. 草 means grass. And this radical actually takes the top of the original character, that horizontal line with the two strokes through it, and puts it above any character that relates to vegetation or grass or, I suppose just vegetation or grass. And you'll understand what I mean when I introduce the examples in a second. So again, 草, grass, is an individual character on its own. However, when it becomes a radical, it features just the same top part that's featured on the original character, that horizontal line with the two vertical strokes. And that becomes the radical for grass, 草. Now, examples I can think of here are 花, okay? 花, which means flower. Again, you can tell this makes sense because flowers have to do with grass and vegetation. They grow in, on the ground, and it makes a lot of sense. And another one I can think of is, 菜, 菜, food, right? Food, or even vegetable in some cases, 菜, okay? Again, it has the same radical on top, that horizontal line with the two vertical strokes, and you will see this a lot when talking about different cuisines. For example, Chinese food, 中国菜, or British food, 英国菜. Okay, so this is another really common radical that will help you to decipher things on a menu, perhaps. The next character I have is 木, okay? 木, and that means tree. And you can see some of these characters, do resemble what they actually are supposed to be. And this is in Chinese what we refer to as pictographic, okay? A pictographic character. Because originally this character, 木, was said to visually represent an actual tree. Not all Chinese characters are like this, obviously, but there are some fundamental ones that we will learn that actually are supposed to resemble an image of what it is trying to describe. So, 木, okay? Now, when this 木 character, which again is a standalone character and has its own meaning, when it becomes a radical, it is squished a little bit onto the left side of the character and indicates a relationship with wood or trees. So, for example, a more common word to refer to a tree is 树, okay? 树. And you'll see it has that radical, okay? For wood or a tree, okay? 树. And I think just before I might have said that 木 means tree. It's usually commonly used to refer to as wood, to refer to wood. Let's just make sure that we get that right. Okay, so 木, okay, means wood. 树, with the same radical, means tree. Okay, another word that I can think of is 枝. Okay, 枝 means branch. Again, has the same radical because that, of course, is connected to wood. Okay, 枝. The next one that we have is hand. Okay, so again, a separate individual character in Chinese, 手. 手, okay, means hand, and that can be its own word. However, as a radical, it loses a stroke and is squished again on the left of the characters that it is in. So the most common, and you'll see this a lot, is 打, okay? 打, third tone, and that means to hit. It actually can be used to mean a lot of different things, but 打 usually is used to mean hit or make a phone call, anything with a hand, okay? Which is why that radical, that 手 radical is there. There's also the word 提, okay? 提, okay? And that also has the 手 hand radical because it means to raise, okay? Or to bring up, which one might do with their hand, okay? So 提 also has our 手 radical. Finally, and I think one of my most favorite, is 心, okay? Heart. And this character by itself, of course, can just mean heart, and it can stand alone. When it's used as a radical, however, again, it's squished on the left side. You're probably noticing a pattern now, and it's just 3 strokes, okay? Sort of downward strokes. And that's used for a vertical way to write xin when it's attached as a radical. So characters that involve xin usually relate to heart, feeling, or emotions. For example, 懂, okay? 懂, okay? Understand. You'll see that you have xin on. You'll see that you have xin on the left side. 懂, and because you have your heart in something to actually understand it, is a good way to remember that. And another good character that uses this radical is 情, okay? 情, which means feeling. Okay, 情, because of course your feelings involve your heart, so it's actually quite an easy one to remember. That's it for this video on radicals for now. Please let me know if you think this video was helpful in the comments below, and I can try to make more and go through different characters. But also do keep in mind that if you struggle to keep up with today's video, the vocab we went through is quite advanced and you might have not learnt it yet. I know we haven't gone through a lot of it in my previous videos yet, but we can do in the future. And I hope you start seeing more of these radicals in the material that you're seeing in Chinese or studying, and we will continue our Chinese language learning journey next time. I'll see you guys then. Take care. Bye.